As of 2023, AI literacy has become increasingly recognised as a vital skill set worldwide. Across various sectors and industries, there's a growing acknowledgement of the significance of understanding and leveraging artificial intelligence technologies. Now, efforts to promote AI literacy have gained momentum, with educational institutions, governments, and businesses placing a much greater emphasis on integrating AI education into curricula and training programmes. Hi everyone, it's Lauren Hawker-Zaffer. Welcome back to Redefining AI, the tech podcast. Today I've been joined by Laurence Liew. Laurence Liew is a director for AI Innovation at AI Singapore. He is driving the adoption of AI by the Singapore ecosystem through the 100 experiments, AI Apprenticeship Programmes, and the Generational AI Talent Development Initiative. Welcome, Laurence. It's lovely to have you here on the show today.
Very nice to be on the podcast. Thank you.
I'm going to start with a sort of personal question so that our listeners can get right into understanding a little bit more about yourself and who you are. What's your favourite part of your job, Laurence? What did you want to do when you were small?
I never thought I'll be doing AI, that's for sure. But my favorite part is really seeing my apprentices, right? We call them apprentices who come in, professionals who come in, join our program. Before they graduate, they land multiple roles with organizations, multiple offers, and then go on to work in the AI field, right? Through this apprenticeship program, they are able to cross over from a non-AI into an AI role. So I think that's been one of the biggest joy and really the motivation that drives me and my team to go to work every day.
Mm-hmm. And trying to understand that in a little bit more depth there, is it because you feel that you're giving them a skill set that will set them up for life? Or is it just like a personal motivation in being able to develop people, to help people? What do you really enjoy about that?
Actually, they have already acquired the skill set. But what we have provided them is a platform to launch their career. That's really what the apprenticeship program is about. They are very highly self-motivated. They learn on their own. They come into the program, and it's basically a platform for them to deepen their skills, work on a real project, and then launch their career. So that's really what's so exciting about the work.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people always say that you tend to learn more from exposure to real life situations. And obviously you've just highlighted there that you're giving them a real project to work on. Do you feel that this is one of the most important parts of the apprenticeship model that you're setting them up with?
Oh, yes. This really the key to the success of the program. A lot of training programs provide students or learners with projects, but often these projects are synthetic. They're not real. Data sets are nicely formulated, and all they have to do is to get very accurate results. But in the apprenticeship, they are exposed to the real world. Data sets are often very, very messy, missing data sets. Sometimes you get very nice customers. Sometimes you also get customers that are a little bit hard to handle, but they learn. And they build out a complete MVP solution where not only is there a model, but there's a whole end-to-end pipeline where data is being ingested, clean, model trained, a simple GUI is used to display the results, or they will integrate it into the customer's environment through APIs and so on. So the real world project is the core of the apprenticeship program. It gives, our results has shown itself. Our placement rates for our apprentice is in the 90%.
Wow.
I don't think there's any other programs in Singapore, at least that I know of, that can claim 90% placement rates. And most that I'm aware of is in the 20 to 30% placement rates.
But that's a high placement rate itself, 90%. Are you able to identify why that is?
Because employers recognize that the graduates actually have real world experience. They have already solved a problem that is probably at least nearly $500,000 in value. So employers want AI engineers with experience. Now, where are you going to find them? very often, you have to compete with the big boys and so on to find these highly experienced engineers. But now they are able to come to us and get graduates from our apprenticeship programs that some of them may be fresh from school, some of them may have worked a few years, but they have at least 1 year of working experience building an AI model and putting that into production.
Yeah, which is really great exposure. I want to talk a little bit more about the program later in more detail. One thing that our listeners are always curious about, especially if you're working within the ecosystem of AI, is your own journey into the actual space. Was there anything in your own professional career development that stands out as contributing to the direction that you've taken today?
After I graduated, I've always been I'm a mechanical engineer by training, but I've been programming since university, and AI appealed to me. I wanted to predict the stock market, building neural nets to predict the stock market and retire by 30. Unfortunately, that never happened, but it got me into AI. So I got an advanced degree in AI with that. And from then on, I've been in the computing field, whether is it in analytics, in high performance computing, open source. I've been in this field for the last 30 years. After my last organization was acquired by Microsoft, the Singapore government came to me and said, "Hey, Laurence, we are doing this new program called AI Singapore, and we really like to try something different. We like to bring in someone from the industry like yourself to do this program slightly differently than all the other government grant programs that they have done previous years." So it was an interesting challenge. I said, "Yeah, why not?" So I took on the challenge, and I was the first employee of AI Singapore.
Well done. Well done. You've just mentioned a keyword there as well, AI Singapore. So AI Singapore has been instrumental in developing the AI Readiness Index, which has been adopted, as you've mentioned before, in prior conversations that we've had across various countries. Could you maybe elaborate, Laurence, on how this index has helped organisations assess their readiness for AI adoption? And maybe what common challenges have you observed, and how does the index aid in addressing these challenges?
Okay. Now, we need to take a little bit a step back, right? Well, how did this index come about? So, one of the programs we have in AI Singapore is called 100 Experiments, where the intent is to do 100 AI projects for companies in Singapore. And as our team engage the SMEs, the MNCs, and the startups, we found that, for some organizations, they were very ready and we could get them into the program and execute the projects. But some, we found that after talking to them maybe 2 times, 3 times, spending a few hours each, we find that, hey, actually, they are not really ready. And therefore, my team will have spent maybe 8 to 10 hours wasted effort, right? So as we got more and more requests to do AI projects, we needed a way to quickly filter out those companies that are AI ready. So one of our consultants sat down and basically worked out a matrix together with the rest of the engineering team to basically try to identify which companies are AI unaware, AI aware, AI ready, and AI competent, using a very simple 12 questions survey, right? We didn't want it to be so difficult that a SME will not be able to fill up the survey. We wanted it to be very simple, that the IT manager of a SME company can easily fill it up. He won't feel threatened. So we make it very simple, and that's how the AI Readiness Index came about. So within the AI Readiness Index, we look at things like organization readiness, data readiness, infrastructure readiness, business value, and AI ethics and governance. Now, what the 4 of them are the data, infrastructure, business value, and AI ethics. Those are given. Organization readiness is something that a lot of people only think of, okay, I need AI engineers, I need scientists. Yes, if you want to be AI ready or AI competent organization, you need that. But a lot of organizations, SMEs to even large organizations, miss out on the AI literacy. To deploy an AI project successfully, not only do you need to have very good engineers or a very good partner, whether a system integrator or AI solution provider, you actually need to get your employees ready for AI. They need to be literate about AI. And we learned this through working with so many SMEs, right? When we first went in and when the bosses of these SMEs brought us in, the workers on the ground were very afraid. They say, hey, AI is coming in. Am I going to lose my job? So they are fearful. And then they don't really want to work with us, right? When we ask them questions, they held back and so on and so forth. So it was very hard to get projects going. So we realized that even before we actually try to bring an AI project into the organizations, we need to make sure that the organization is AI literate. They know what is AI. They know that AI is going to help them do their work better, and it's not going to replace their jobs.
And I suppose in itself, I mean, if we're talking about the AI Readiness Index, and you've mentioned all the components that are part of the definition that belongs to being ready as an organization, there's also the categorization within being AI literate. And I suppose there's a categorization as to what defines someone as being AI literate in themselves.
Yes, correct. So within the organization readiness section, we actually have, do you have AI talents? That means the AI engineers, the researchers. Not most SME will not have, but larger organizations will have. The next questions we ask is, do you have AI literacy? Now, AI literacy simply means, have you attended a course like our AI for Everyone, which is like a 2 hours, 3 hours online course that basically talks about AI and demystify AI. So we're not talking about people who are programmers and so on. It's basically, men in the street that watch, could be even a 20, 30 minutes online video about what is AI. And then say, okay, AI is a technology, is a tool that can help me do the job better and so on. It is not Hollywood style Terminator, for example.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's fascinating. It's also good that you are providing opportunities to help people become more literate within the organization around the topic of AI. What would interest me there is in the categorization of an organization being ready, the organizational readiness, the data readiness, the business value, the AI ethics and governance. Where did you find that most organizations were immature? Was it in their stance in AI ethics and governance? Was it data readiness? Was there a prominent component of that?
Okay. Well, AI ethics and governance, most organizations are pretty weak because a lot of the organizations that come to us are very new into it. And there's really, very high level guidelines issued by various governments about, ethics and governance. So that's a little bit, not a hard and fast rule. Now, AI literacy is where a lot of organizations fail. They forgot about the part about, getting the staff ready for AI. The other two is really data readiness. A lot of organizations think that they have data, but actually when we dig into it, their data could be digital, but digital as in it's all in Excel. So it's really very hard to operationalize an AI system with data that's sitting on PCs, in users' laptop, in Excel spreadsheets. And the other one that we have come across several organizations is the infrastructure readiness. Now, a lot of organizations, they may have, IT departments that have put in place, whether is it, the web servers, the email servers, or maybe a database or data warehouse. But when you want to do AI, the infrastructure required is very different. And especially today, you need very powerful machines, you need GPUs, you basically need like a supercomputer, right? For those really complex ones. And if not in-house, you need to know how to acquire and use them on the cloud. And most IT departments don't have that skill set. So that's something that for the more sophisticated customers, they then struggle to find the right IT engineers who can actually manage such infrastructure, whether it's in-house or on the cloud. In fact, what we are seeing now is that there is demand, and it's actually harder to find ML ops engineers than AI engineers or data scientists. AI engineers, data scientists, you can find, but the really good ML ops engineers is something that a lot of organizations are struggling to find.
Yeah, it would have been my next question, actually. So obviously the introduction or the prominence of large language models, of generative AI. I'm sure that this has caused some disruption to your own assessment of, is an organisation AI ready? I mean, now we've got the other questions that come into just infrastructure alone. I mean, you've got hosting data regulations that might not have been as much of a consideration when looking at the implementation. I mean, how's that affected the whole readiness index in Singapore?
I think it is still early. Definitely a lot of interest in generative AI today. But my take is that it's going to help us as in AI Singapore to do our work a lot easier. Because it used to be that we had to drag companies to come into our seminars and learn about AI and so on. Now it's the other way around. They are pulling us into their organization to basically say, can you tell us about AI? Can you tell us about generative AI? So the scenario has switched in that sense. But what is great is that generative AI, it used to be, a year ago, we were building very bespoke applications, bespoke AI applications to solve a very specific use case. And therefore, the skills requirement to use it and so on are much higher. But with generative AI, with the launch of Microsoft Copilot, with the launch of Google Duet AI, productivity suites that everyone use, me, everyone else use, your admin staff use, your secretary will use, your PA will use, they are now going to be exposed to AI. We no longer need to build very specialized AI tools for them to use, because the tools that they're using daily, the Word, the Doc, the spreadsheets, the Excel, will have this AI baked in. And it's just a new skill that they need to learn. They just now need to know how to use a chat interface to basically say, hey, can you convert this Word document into a PowerPoint slides, make it five slides, and each slide have 3 points, and at the same time, please generate a beautiful background image to go with it. And the AI will go and do that.
Yes, it's incredible where we've come to, and I think where we are now very much talking about a different skill set, especially when it comes to prompt and prompt engineering, which would lead me on to an interesting topic, because if we're looking at the demographics that are addressed in AI literacy as well, because, AI literacy in the demographic from an age categorization differs dramatically as well. The initiative to involve individuals in being AI literate, you've done it yourselves. You've involved, individuals, young adults from the age of 12 years old into learning about AI, which is commendable in itself. But one thing is, there's obviously been different responses, I imagine, in the different age groups and the professional backgrounds that you are helping become more AI literate. How have you, or what methods have you used to try and make AI education accessible and engaging for such diverse audiences? And especially now when we're talking about the introduction of prompt engineering, etc., how are you tackling that?
The professionals are pretty straightforward. Professionals, we used to run a AI for Everyone seminar face-to-face twice a month before COVID. And when COVID came, we went online and we continue to push that. So people just come online and so on. Now, for the younger adults, the kids, the 12 years old, those in high school and so on, AI Singapore, we are not resourced to go into the schools to teach. Okay? So what we do is we teach the parents. We get the parents trained on AI for Everyone. We get the parents trained on how to teach, use the materials that we provide to them for AI for kids and all the teachers. And they will then teach the kids, right? So that multiply the number of people who are able to teach. And for the schools, we basically provided the resources for free for all the schools to use. And basically they mount it onto their own learning management system, and students, please go online and go through the materials. So we basically provided quality materials free of cost to the schools for them to expose the students. So that's been going on during COVID and after COVID. And the last 1 year, because of the interest of generative AI and so on, we actually now have schools requesting to come and visit AI Singapore. And it's crazy. It's like we'll get 2 to 3 requests every week, and we'll schedule it. So we actually now have grown a team of half a head count, which is like someone part-time doing all this curriculum. Now we actually have two full-time curriculum engineers and supported by another 3 or 4 operational staff just to handle the amount of interest coming in from the schools. So it's either the teachers coming, the principals coming, or after they come, then they'll bring the students. Or sometimes, and many times, we'll actually go down to the schools, right, to give a 2-hour session on literacy in AI. So this is all about, getting the kids aware what is AI, getting them excited about AI, and hopefully get more of the girls and ladies to continue to stay in STEM, right? So that hopefully, by the time we get to the university, we'll have 50% ladies, 50% guys doing STEM education. Mm-hmm. What we have seen is that, as they progress up the education ladder, more and more females drop out from STEM. So we want to basically address this problem early on.
I mean, it's really wonderful that you're providing the resources to be able to create such an accessible offering. One thing that I'm curious about is, how do you see this progressing? Do you think that it is a short-term interest and enthusiasm? Or do you see it really developing in the future, as in it's here and the interest around AI is something that's going to be a positive motivational change that can hopefully, as you've mentioned, disrupt as well the disproportional alignment between females and males in STEM?
Well, I mean, definitely today we are in the midst of the hype cycle for generative AI. But even after the hype has passed, I think Gen AI will be here to stay. They are very useful tools that education, that teachers and schools will use. Education will definitely undergo changes because of generative AI. And students will be using such tools to help them to do their work better. Obviously, teachers have to find new ways of testing the kids and so on, right? Because they'll be using tools like generative AI. And therefore, you need to test, you need to create tests that will test, that is not going to test memory or just to regurgitate out facts, right? Because Gen AI can do that. So you're going to have to create new form of tests to test understanding and so on and so forth. So I think that the education system will undergo changes. We are working very closely with teachers. We are working very closely with the Ministry of Education to make sure that AI becomes part of the curriculum. So in Singapore, we have a program where teachers actually can take a sabbatical and then go and work in the industry for several weeks or a couple of months. And we now get a lot of requests from teachers who come to AI Singapore. So we take them in and we attach an AI engineer to them and they buddy up. And then what we get them to do is the teachers will then create AI courses, right? They learn the AI and then they will then create courses. Like we had teachers who created how to use ChatGPT to create a course outline, for example, right? Or to mark certain test scripts and so on. So it become a mini course that we then get other teachers to come in and learn. So teachers are teaching teachers. So after the teachers learn how to use AI, they are teaching other teachers, for example.
Yeah, it's a great way to leverage skill sets, certainly.
Because we are not teachers. We don't come from that background. So it is easy for us to it's easier for us to teach them the AI part, and then they use their domain expertise as teachers to then craft the curriculum that will appeal to students, that will appeal to their fellow teachers, for example.
Definitely a win-win situation, I'd say. Yes. I want to squeeze one last question in because it's a fascinating topic that affects everyone to a certain extent. So you've collaborated with over 100 organizations and you've guided them a lot in AI projects. And we're talking about not only the remarkable transformation that AI literacy can offer when one becomes AI literate, not only an individual, but an organization. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about a really remarkable transformation or improvement that happened because of an AI project that you worked on.
We have several very interesting projects. Let's look at SME, right? So we have, I can share this because this is public. So we have a dental chain that came to us, And they have a couple of problems they want to solve because they are pretty big in the region, not just Singapore, in the region. And not all dentists have the same level of skill sets. So they wanted to use AI to basically identify what are the problems that the patient's tooth or gums may have, and then generate a standardized, obviously diagnose, and then generate a standard set of procedures so that everybody, no matter whether you are in Singapore or you are in a small city in Indonesia or far away, you get the same type of treatment. Okay, right. Because AI can generate that. So that's one that we did. On top of that, when you take dental X-ray or dental chart, AI is there to identify very quickly what sort of gum disease or tooth decays and so on you have. And then the dentist, which used to spend 15 to 20 minutes identifying all those, now only needs to spend 3 to 5 minutes to basically verify that what the AI has indicated is correct or incorrect. So that has helped the dental chain to basically improve their patient outcome. Patient can actually look at a nice, colorful chart to say, okay, this is what the AI has said, this is what the dentist has said, and this is a set of standardized procedure. So they know that they're getting quality treatment in that sense. So the SME is very happy with this dental chain has been very happy with the outcome. They actually came back to us to do a second project to improve on some of the systems that they have.
I can imagine it. And I think it does provide the organisation with an opportunity, as you've mentioned, to standardise that customer experience, to align or expect, create an expectation of what you can expect from that organisation in terms of customer experience.
Right.
Very beneficial.
I mean, in healthcare, a lot of people are working on AI systems because we know there are rural areas that may not have the doctors and so on. But we still want to be able to provide the quality of care to these patients in very in rural areas, right? I mean, Singapore we don't really have that situation, but in neighboring countries of ours, right, they are vast and they may not have doctors, or don't even talk about quality doctors. They may not even have doctors in the villages. So how do we get that kind of care to them? So that's what the healthcare and what people in AI are trying to do. For us, we don't have an opportunity yet in building that. The closest we have come to is what I just mentioned, dental. At least through this dental chain, they are able to ensure that patients, whether you are in a rural village that has a dentist that may or may not be that well trained, he or she will still be able to deliver the same quality of care as a dentist in Singapore, for example.
Yeah, in Singapore. I mean, it's wonderful and it's admirable to see the enthusiasm that you have for really motioning this initiative forward in your collaboration and work and effort with AI Singapore. So we want to thank you first and foremost for sharing this with us today. I'm sure it'll be really interesting for our listeners to find out a little bit more about what's happening in Singapore and the AI readiness of Singapore itself. So thank you, Laurence.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me on your program.
And I'd like to thank the rest of our audience today and everyone involved in the production of this episode. If you'd like to share the episode, then share it with your friend. Thank you.
Thank you.